UFC 309 is taking place this Saturday, and it's the most stacked card of the year in my opinion. It's a little bit better than UFC 300. And yeah, I'm not really surprised. MSG cards are usually the best, and this is no exception. No, I'm playing. It's a pretty mid card. There's some really good prelims, a lot of pullouts, but in the main card, every favorite is at least a 2-1 favorite, if not a little bit more. So that's pretty disappointing. Outside of the co-main event, there's not much to be excited for. There are some, good prelims. Martinez McGhee is a pretty good fight. There's a few others. Jim Miller's on the card. But there's no fight that's really going to get you nervous, outside of the co-main event. And it's a rematch, too, that doesn't really have any title implications. But yeah, the main event, breaking down every fight. Last fight card, I went 10 for 11. So I've been doing really good the past few cards. Almost have swept the past 3 cards. I'm going to try to sweep this card. But yeah, the main card is pretty easy to predict. Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic. I'm going to go with Stipe in this fight. I know that may be a hot take. I think that Stipe, one, he comes from a wrestling background, and it's just mainly you can never count him out, He always has a puncher's chance. He has that Ohio boxing. I think that he's going to get taken down. It's going to be similar to Volk versus Islam, the first fight. He's going to be on his back. He's going to be laughing. He's going to, keep on getting up. He's going to be punching Jon Jones from the bottom. He's going to get up, and he's going to survive. He's going to lose the first 3-4 rounds. And just like in that DC rematch, 5th round, he's going to come out. He's going to land one of those big overhands, and he's going to put down Jon Jones. He's going to call out Tom Aspinall, and he's going to cement his legacy. I'm joking. I have Jon Jones in this fight. Stipe, in his last fight against Ngannou in the rematch, he looked washed in that fight. I mean, talk about having no success. Not only did he not throw a punch in the first round, he got wobbled in the first round. He got taken down by Ngannou. Taken down easily by Ngannou. I think he came in that fight a little bit light. Maybe, he'll come in this fight a little bit more heavy, I'd imagine. But yeah, he looked washed in that fight. Even in the DC trilogy, he didn't look that good. He really benefited from the eye poke, which, to be fair, Cormier benefited in the first and second fight from eye pokes. So, but still, he eye poked DC really badly, and DC could not see afterwards. And DC, he usually, puts on the pressure, championship rounds. He took the 3rd round off, was planning to put the pressure on with both eyes, not one. Stipe, he ended up taking it. Really wasn't a great fight at all. And DC was like 41. It still was a competitive fight. But yeah, how I see this fight going, I see Jon Jones taking him down easily, submitting him probably within the first 2 rounds. I don't think it's going to make it past 2. And I think 2nd round submission. Jones's last fight against Real Gone, it really wasn't a great fight. It wasn't even a fight. That was more Gone doing bad than Jones doing good. And if you rewatch the fight, you'll agree with me. Anytime Jones would throw anything super slow, nothing on it, and Ciryl Gane, the world-class striker, would just shit his pants. He would jump back. Really bad performance from Ciryl Gane. Showed no heart, no explosiveness to get up, no attempt to get up. Kind of was complacent. It kind of looked like he was like, okay, I'm not going to risk anything. I'm just going to stay down here for 4 minutes and hope he doesn't submit me and then try to knock him out in the second round. Did not happen. Got submitted within 2 minutes, I think. But yeah, I usually wouldn't pick Jones by a finish. But, against a guy like Stipe, at his age, he's going to finish him. Stipe is tough, but we all know this. Moving on, co-main event. My last video, go watch it. I broke down the entire fight, how I think it's going to go. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I think Oliveira is going to win this fight. I am worried for him. This is a very close fight. I don't agree with the odds. But Chandler is 38. He's chinny, 2-year layoff. Those are some reasons, without spoiling how I think the fight is actually going to go. But I think Oliveira, what it comes down to, is 2 things. Oliveira is better at surviving than Chandler, and Oliveira has more ways to win. I have Oliveira, second round TKO. Third fight, featured fight, Bo Nickal versus Paul Craig. Another pretty easy fight to predict. I'm going with Bo Nickal. Paul Craig isn't bad on the feet. He's better than people make him out to be. He's just very chinny. He has no chin. Bo Nickal could probably put him out. I think Paul Craig has good kicks. I think Nickal could either take him down off of the kicks or counter him and knock him out because he always gets punished for throwing that kick. I just feel like that Bo Nickal isn't going to get the knockout because I think that Paul Craig is going to welcome it to the ground like he always does. And I think Bo Nickal is the type of guy to say, okay, let's take it to the ground. And I don't think Paul Craig is going to get a Hail Mary submission like he sometimes does. This isn't 2020, 2019, not happening. I don't think Bo Nickal is going to submit him, though, like Brendan Allen. I do think Bo Nickal is going to win a 30-27 decision, dominant decision. Moving on. Karine Silva. Man, this card is stacked. We have Karine Silva versus Viviane. I have Karine Silva. Viviane actually isn't bad for being 37. Fun fact, by the way, this card has 24 fighters and 10 of 24 fighters are at least 36 years old. Viviane, 37. Silva, a lot younger. She's good everywhere. Great kicks, very fast kicks, power in her hands, good takedowns, good submissions, very well-rounded and dangerous everywhere. Viviane is also well-rounded. She's only lost to the best and put up good fights in her losses. I just think Silva is going to be way too fast for her and kind of better everywhere. I think that Silva's got this. I'm going to say by a decision, Karine Silva, 30-27. Moving on, we have the Brazilian Conor McGregor, Ruffy versus LIontop. So LIontop, he's going to be 0-3 after this fight in the UFC, which sucks because he was a pretty hyped up prospect. I forgot his name, Chris, starts with a P, the taco guy, whatever. It's actually pretty good. He loses to him in his UFC debut, gets submitted in the first round, I think. Really bad performance. Then he comes back and he fights the Russian. I forget his name. He's the guy who got 30-20'd by Chase Hooper of all people. Loses a split decision, but it was a good fight, James, he's very tough. He's durable. He's never been knocked out before. Ruffy is a knockout artist. He fights just like Conor McGregor. And I think Ruffy is going to be the first guy to put LIontop out. Second round TKO. Very good kicks. LIontop is good on the feet, but he's just not great. He's not Ruffy. Fighting nerds, they're taking over. I have Ruffy by second round TKO. Opening up the prelims, or the prelim headliner. A really good fight. Marcus McGhee, Johnathan Martinez. This is a coin flip. It seems like every prelim on this card is a coin flip. Martinez, best kicks in the UFC. Best leg kicks in the UFC, I should say. Coming off of a loss to Jose Aldo, where it showed that his boxing was, it showed that he wasn't a great or elite boxer. Got completely outboxed by Jose Aldo. No shame in that. It looked like he just got really nervous for that fight. I think that he's going to learn a lot from that fight. He's beaten way better guys than Marcus McGhee. He's lost to better guys. Marcus McGhee hasn't really fought anyone. He's pretty much only beat Cans. He recently beat Gaston at the beginning of the year, who just, had a good win. But outside of that, I do think he's a good fighter. I think that he deserves to fight for the rankings. He is the better boxer. He's more powerful. He is a good grappler. I don't think he's going to have much success against Martinez in the grappling. I think that Martinez is going to damage the leg enough to not finish him, but to take away the power of a Marcus McGhee. And I think that Martinez is going to win a decision, 29-28 in my opinion. But yeah, moving on. Another 50-50 fight. Eryk Anders, Chris Weidman. This is a washed off. Two guys We have Celtic Shaq versus, Celtic Shaq. I'm going to go with the underdog, Chris Weidman. I was watching Eryk Anders, and Weidman is also chinny. Anders has no chin. You're getting dropped by Jamie Pickett. Come on, bro. And Marc-Andre, he's pillow hands. I think I could take a punch from him. And you're getting dropped. He has no chin. He gets hurt badly in every one of his fights. So I know Weidman is going to win at least one round from dropping Anders. I also don't think that Anders is going to have much success grappling Weidman. Weidman is a decent grappler. So I think it's going to be on the feet. I think Weidman's, even though he's 3 years older, I still think he's a little bit better. And it's New York. The judges are going to favor him. His last fight should have been a disqualification. Was completely rigged. Hopefully Weidman gets eye-poked, goes blind. No, I'm kidding. I just don't like Weidman, but I'm going to pick him in this fight. Moving on, another 50-50 fight. Jim Miller, Damon Jackson. Jim Miller, another old guy, 41. Damon Jackson, another old guy, 36. Jim Miller, both guys are coming off of brutal losses. Jim Miller's being a little bit worse. Should have been stopped. Took a ton of damage against Bobby Green. Damon Jackson took a ton of damage against Stipe. Both of their fights probably should have been stopped. And both of them weren't that long ago, their fights. Jim Miller is the more powerful guy. I believe Damon Jackson is moving up to lightweight. I think Damon Jackson is maybe a little bit longer, definitely faster. And in the grappling, I would favor Damon Jackson slightly. Jim Miller is also a good grappler, but I don't think he's going to submit Damon Jackson. And I think he's going to push the pace. Jim Miller is really tough. But I have Damon Jackson by a decision, probably 29-28. Jim Miller, he hasn't really beat anyone good as of late in the past few years. Damon Jackson just beat Hernandez, arguably lost, but Hernandez is really good. He's one of my favorite fighters. Jim Miller lost to him. I have Damon Jackson. Moving on, Marcin Tybura versus Diniz. This is another 50-50 fight. Tybura, I usually would never pick him. He's 39. He's a blob, and I'm going to pick him to beat Diniz. Because Diniz's last fight, Diniz is a very good kickboxer, ton of power, probably going to hurt Tybura and win the first off of damage. Carl Williams, though, he didn't get knocked out, and he should have won the fight. He got cut because of that fight, thank God. So low IQ. All he had to do was shoot a takedown. You're a wrestler, shoot a takedown against the kickboxer. It's MMA. That's how you win fights. And he decides to not shoot a takedown until the last 3 minutes of the fight. Wins the third round. Showed if he just shot takedowns, he could have won. Didn't do it. I think Diniz has to finish Tybura, which is definitely possible. Tybura has been knocked out a lot in his career. I think Tybura, he's just going to trudge forward. He's 39. This is the level of an opponent that he could beat. And I think that he's going to win. I think that he's going to win a 29-28 decision based off control and ground and pound. But yeah, moving on. Gall versus Ramiz. Stacked pay-per-view. I'm Gall. He's a good enough grappler to hold his own against Ramiz, and he's a little bit better on the feet. He's more durable. He's very tough. He has good cardio. And he is somewhat high output. I think that he's going to win a decision here. Pretty simple. Moving on, Hafez versus Oban Elliott. Another coin flip. The last fight was a coin flip too. This is another one. So, Hafez, big, strong, powerful, probably on sauce. His last fight was against Gall. He didn't look great. He looked a little tired in the third, but he was able to push the pace and push himself, which I like to see. He doesn't have as much power as it looks like. He wasn't really able to hurt Gall all that much. Elliott, pretty good grappler, decent striker. I think Elliott won't have success grappling until the third, honestly. Once Hafez is tired, assuming it goes the distance. I think Hafez is going to win the fight. I'm going to pick him as an underdog because I think he'll push the pace, he'll push himself, and he'll just land and throw that 1 to 2 more strikes to get him the victory. I think Elliott will win the third. Hafez will win the first. Second will be close, But Hafez is going to push himself enough to land the last few strikes in the round, seal the deal for him. I have him by a decision. Opening up the card, Veronica Hardy versus Eduarda Moura. I have Hardy in this one. Another coin flip. Eduarda, I think, is moving up from strawweight, I think, to flyweight. And it's crazy because she's the bigger fighter and she's moving up still. Hardy isn't she's a small flyweight. She's very fast though. Very good on the feet. Moves a lot. Very hard to track down and has good takedown defense and has good jiu-jitsu. I think that she's going to win similar to how Eduarda, how she lost her last fight. Eduarda, she will take her down. Probably. It just depends how much and how often. I don't think that she's going to get Hardy down that often to win a decision. WMMA, so you never know. The judges sometimes score control time, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they do damage, sometimes not. I have Hardy by a 29-28 decision, split, because no matter what, no matter how obvious, WMMA is always split. But yeah, I have Hardy in this fight. Let me know what you guys think of the card. It's an alright card, 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, nothing crazy. We're rooting for Charles Oliveira. But yeah, that is it for me. Let me know your predictions. And yeah,